Good afternoon. This is Carl and Kelly Jananoa, co-chairs of the Athletes Like Audrey Luncheon, coming to you from the Special Olympics Michigan Unified Sports and Inclusion Center in Grand Rapids. Thank you so much for joining us for this year's virtual Athletes Like Audrey program. We are missing the community and seeing all of you more than ever.
And we know the athletes wish they could be with you in person, giving high fives to each and every one of you today. We have an exciting program ahead with an incredible keynote speaker, Special Olympics athlete CJ VanSkiver and her mother Jen VanSkiver. Please stay tuned, send the link to your friends, and join us in just a few minutes as we begin our 30-minute program.
Welcome to the 7th Annual Athletes Like Audrey Luncheon. I'm Juliette Dragus, 13 on Your Side news anchor, Special Olympics Michigan board member, and a longtime volunteer and supporter of the Special Olympics movement. Before we begin our inspirational program, here are our key sponsors and supporters of today's event. Founding partner, Peter and Joan Secchia. MVP, Mike and Sue Jananoa. Ceremonies Club, Meyer. Thank you so much for your support. The Athletes Like Audrey Luncheon is named in honor of Audrey Jananoa. Audrey passed away in January of 2018 from a severe infection, and the Red Glasses movement started just a few days later to carry on her legacy. Audrey was known for her contagious smile, her uninhibited approach to life, and her bright red glasses. She loved without restrictions and lived as a bright light of kindness and courage in this world. Audrey knew her purpose, and now she is challenging us to find ours, to live boldly, to love big, and pass it on. Audrey's legacy is one we celebrate at Special Olympics Michigan as we work to make the world a more inclusive place for people of all abilities. Audrey's family is so grateful for your big, bold love for Special Olympics Michigan here today. COVID-19 has changed nearly every aspect of the world, how we work, socialize, exercise, and live. For those with intellectual disabilities, these changes have been an even greater challenge. The pandemic has isolated our athletes from their teammates, their friends, and mentors, and it's been a barrier to resources for our athletes to pursue their training and healthy lifestyles. However, the spirit of perseverance lives on in the Special Olympics community, and we will hear firsthand how the pandemic has affected an athlete and her family later in the program. The one thing I've learned and have seen over and over again during my nearly 3 decades of involvement with Special Olympics Michigan, the amazing abilities of our athletes. Not only do they excel through sport, They set an example of how positive attitude, work ethic, and being part of a team make everyone better. My father was a baseball player, from little league to high school to adult leagues, and he was a coach. And I just learned something about him I didn't know. Before the Special Olympics movement even started, my dad was the coach of his hometown's little league team. There was a young man with an intellectual disability who would come to watch and cheer on the team. My dad asked him to take part in practice. That young man became part of the team, and he made such a difference. That year, the team was one win away from making it to the Little League World Series. One of his players, now 80 years old, wrote to my family to tell us about the impression my dad made on him and the entire team. My dad passed away 2 weeks ago, but I'm not one bit surprised that he changed minds, attitudes, and lives. And that's the goal of Special Olympics Michigan, to change lives through acceptance and inclusion. We should celebrate abilities because every person has them. I personally get far more from our athletes than I could ever give. I've made so many friends over the years, and I feel like I'm a better person because of them. As we move forward, it is clear we need to adopt new methods of engagement to best serve these athletes in a safe environment during these challenging times. To address this, we created the Athlete Recovery Fund, a source dedicated to providing athletes with the proper personal protective equipment to engage in play. This fund will also allocate resources to virtual health and fitness opportunities, additional equipment needs, and fitness space as Special Olympics Michigan begins to navigate a new set of challenges for the organization and its athletes.
Special Olympics Michigan has been empowering individuals with intellectual disabilities for more than 50 years. And while we've accomplished some game-changing work during that time, we're just getting started. Together, Special Olympics Michigan represents approximately 23,000 athletes, 29,000 volunteers, and 3,000 coaches championing a more inclusive world. Focused upon the principle that everyone deserves a chance to connect, shine, and redefine what is possible, Special Olympics uses sport as the vehicle to show the world what our athletes can accomplish and redefine what's possible. Our mission: to provide year-round sports training and athletic competition for children and adults with intellectual disabilities, locally, regionally, and statewide. And while many know us as an inclusive sports organization first, we are so much more. We provide holistic health education and services through various training, workshops, and screenings. We provide meaningful social inclusion by bringing together students with and without intellectual disabilities to create accepting school environments through Unified Champion Schools. And we build a community centered around relationships and connections. This work is important because of the impact that is left on our athletes and our community members. A sense of community, a sense of friendship, a hope for a brighter tomorrow and a more inclusive world. For these athletes, Special Olympics is an outlet to focus, challenge, and redefine their notions of what can be, to remind us all of the champion that lies within. And by doing this work, we celebrate building a more inclusive world for today, tomorrow, and forever.
To tell you more about how Special Olympics Michigan is adapting, here's President and CEO Tim Heilman.
Good afternoon. Thank you all so much for joining us today. As you know, the COVID-19 pandemic has affected a lot of things with Special Olympics over the past 6 months. But what it hasn't affected is our athletes' determination. It hasn't affected our athletes' grit, their support from one another, or their spirit. So yes, we've been forced to look at and do things differently. But as you'll hear from CJ, it is our athletes who continue to show us how the power of community and the power of inclusion will always persevere. Just last month, Special Olympics Michigan held our first ever virtual Summer Games. Who would have thought of virtual summer games? Yet here we were, able to have a week-long celebration, a week-long virtual event featuring over 20 sporting competitions where over 500 scores were submitted. I can't tell you how great it was to watch the videos and pictures of our athletes competing once again. I got chills watching Mac raise his hands after he ran the 100-meter dash at the track near his house. Watching Michael hit shot after shot in the basketball challenge right in his driveway. Or watching the beautiful routine of Julia performing her gymnastics in her living room. So yes, the venues have been a little different, but the Special Olympics movement carries on. And while things look a little different right now, I'm happy to tell you, and all of the Special Olympics athletes are happy to tell you, sports are not canceled. Fitness is not canceled. Health and wellness for our athletes is not canceled. Athlete leadership is not canceled. And most importantly, inclusion is not canceled. Because of great friends like you who are supporting our athletes and community, the spirit of the Special Olympics movement is alive and well. And so while we make our plans to safely return to the fields and courts, please know that your support will directly benefit our great athletes in our return to play. Thank you for joining us today for this special event, and thank you for being a part of today's Future with Special Olympics. And a huge thank you to CJ for showing the definition of what an incredible leader and being a leader for Special Olympics Michigan is all about.
This year's Athletes Like Audrey keynote speaker is CJ VanSkiver. CJ is a surgical support technician in the Spectrum Health Butterworth post-anesthesia care unit. She is a Special Olympics global messenger and a Special Olympics Michigan athlete. Additionally, she's a student at Grand Rapids Community College's Norfolk Academy and is very involved in other community organizations. CJ lives a busy and active life and leads in almost everything she does. CJ has been a Special Olympics Michigan athlete since 2016. Her favorite sport to compete in? Basketball. It is my pleasure to introduce CJ VanSkiver.
Hello and welcome everyone. My name is CJ VanSkiver, but everyone knows me as CJ. Thank you for tuning in to watch me for the first ever virtual Athletes Like Audrey event benefiting Special Olympics. I am speaking to you today from the new Special Olympics campus. I know one day soon, me and other athletes will be playing all kinds of sports here together. When I close my eyes, I can see it all happening and I can hear you cheering. During the past 5 months, I really missed that. We all have. And that's what I'm here to talk to you about. Helping athletes like me getting back to playing and being the best. But first, a little bit about me for those I haven't met yet. I am 20 years old, I live in Grand Rapids, and I'm many different things. I'm a daughter, a granddaughter, a sister, a cousin, a friend, and a girlfriend. I am also a hardworking employee at Spectrum Health, which is a super awesome hospital, by the way. I'm a lifelong learner at Norfolk Academy at Grand Rapids Community College. I am a special needs advocate and a community leader. In my spare time, I like to ride horses, hang out with my young life friends, watch movies, and work out at the Mary Fiebert YMCA. But I'm talking to you today because I'm a proud Special Olympics athlete. I helped start the first year Thunder all-girls basketball team when I was still in high school. I still play for the Thunder and my awesome coach, Katie. Speaking of awesome, there's something I would like to show you. Let's watch. That was me when I was 14 years old at my first ever basketball game. I closed my eyes, I dribbled, I threw it up there, and it went in. All that screaming you heard was my mom. And these people. They're my family and friends. They show up to everything I do and support me. They were all there the day we won the state championship a few years ago. It was one of the best days of my whole life. Our team is like a sisterhood. We're a family that supports each other. Being a Special Olympics athlete makes me really proud of who I am. Special Olympics helped me believe in myself, and it taught me important things like teamwork, positivity, digging deep, investing in my health, and never giving up. All things I need to be successful in all areas of my life. I got my job at Spectrum Health through an internship program for adults with special needs called Project Search. It is an international program that works with all kinds of companies like Spectrum Health that want to be inclusive. They help people with special needs learn how to start a career. When they interviewed me, they said they picked me because I had the right combination of skills, especially the ones Special Olympics gave me. Turns out I was the youngest person ever to get accepted into Project Search. And then I was the first special needs person to get hired into the surgery department at Spectrum. I am now working as a full-time nurse technician with benefits. I'm a taxpayer. I like blazing trails, I like showing what I can do, and I like creating paths for others to show what they can do. That's why I love Special Olympics so much. Special Olympics is all about helping the world see our ability. It helps me shine. You know what else? Special Olympics gave me a voice too. I feel very lucky for that. Not everyone gets the chance to change minds and help people, but I do. When you see a Special Olympics athlete, please know that our motivations in life are just like you. We want to be understood. We want to belong. We want to be healthy. We want the opportunity to try our best. We want to know what it's like to be cheered for. We want to be respected for things we can do. It's so important now more than ever to see that you and me are more the same than different, except that I might play basketball a little better. I hope you will consider financially supporting me and the awesome things that Special Olympics does for our community, especially now. We need Special Olympics more than ever to help us stay hopeful and looking forward. We would not be here without friends like you. We promise to make you proud of your investment. I would like to thank my teammates and especially Coach Thomas and Coach Katie for everything they've done for me. Go for Thunder! I would like to thank Mr. and Mrs. Jan and Noah for letting us celebrate Audrey. And finally, I would like to thank all my friends and family from all over the country. Thank you. And remember, never give up.
Thank you so much for your inspiration, CJ. Jen VanSkiver is the Chief Communications Officer for North Ottawa Community Health System. She serves on the board of Gracious Grounds, is an advocate for those with intellectual disabilities and Special Olympics Michigan, and is the mother of CJ VanSkiver. Jen serves her community and family in outstanding ways, using her personal experiences and passionate drive as her motivation. Together, she and CJ are a force to be reckoned with. Here's Jen VanSkiver.
Hello to all of you out there. I'm Jen VanSkiver, better known as CJ's mom. From the bottom of my heart and the heart of our family, thank you for tuning in to hear our daughter's incredible story. I was asked to share a few thoughts with you on behalf of the parents and the families of our 22,000 and counting Special Olympics athletes across the state. Our message today is pretty simple, and it goes like this: thank you. Just by the simple act of watching this video and hearing one athlete's story, you've achieved inclusion. CJ and the movement that she represents is now part of your consciousness. Your worldview is now forever changed for the better, whether you realized it or not. In her, you have seen what our families have been witnessing for years inside of Special Olympics camaraderie and competition. You've seen what happens when we open doors, when we welcome all, when we extend the opportunity to try, just to get out there, just to give it your all, just to believe in yourself. You've seen the power of aspiration and what it can do on and off the field. You've now seen that this power is not reserved for the select few, those with the most goals scored or the fastest times. You've seen that this power exists in everyone, and that, my friends, is called human spirit, and the human spirit knows no limit. Our families really live in between two worlds. First, the society that we all know, and a much smaller society that we call home, where our loved ones exist because of struggles and barriers like communication, like being able to advocate for themselves, like transportation or money. There are just fewer spaces and places where they are understood and valued for who they are. And yes, there is legislation out there that attempts to level the playing field, but that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about a greater barrier that's sometimes harder to see, but let me tell you, it exists. And that barrier is acceptance. Acceptance is really at the heart of everything Special Olympics does. Special Olympics is so much more than a place or a game. It's about truly belonging. And it's what CJ said. It's about knowing what it feels like to be cheered for. It's about being acknowledged for what you can do, as opposed to constantly being defined by things like standardized test scores or diagnoses, all the things that society labels our loved ones with right from the get-go, instead of first seeing them as people, like you and me. Special Olympics is also about advocacy every day in every community across the state. Special Olympics is opening minds. They are challenging expectations, and they're bringing us all together so much closer to seeing the glorious human spirit at work in each of us. It brings our loved ones out of isolation and into society, providing them the tools they need to be healthy, to be engaged, to be competitive, and to love themselves. I think the past few months has taught us all a whole lot more about the damaging effects of isolation, more than anything CJ or I could ever have explained to you here or even before. Now I think we all have a greater understanding of how critically important it is to have that human connection, a reason to get out of bed, a drive to keep going, a goal to strive for. Your support today will help Special Olympics realize its plans to keep athletes like CJ engaged in new and virtual ways. And when the time is right, these investments will help them transition back onto the field and onto the court where they belong. They need these investments in technology and programming like never before to rethink, to retool, and then deploy. 22,000 athletes and their families, like mine, are looking to them for this vital support. Please help them be there for us. I am so grateful to all of you for joining what we call the inclusion revolution. What a time to see the human spirit in all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. During this time of social distancing and isolation, our mission of inclusion resonates loudly. We are working diligently to ensure we are there for our athletes both now and when the time comes to return to athletic competition safely. We are respectfully requesting resources to enable our athletes to once again begin training, giving them the opportunity to practice organized physical fitness and engage in health-related activities with their teammates, friends, and family members within the community. Instead of an auction, we have 6 fund a need levels on our website, which is somi.org/ALA. Please consider a gift of any amount to the Athlete Recovery Fund.
2020, the world as we knew it was turned upside down. Like the rest of the world, the Special Olympics community was forced to pause, to shift plans, and respond to a changing world.
We was all disappointed because we was looking forward to playing volleyball at summer games.
I knew they were doing it because I knew it was the right thing to do, but I was still mad.
It's just hard.
However, just because the year hasn't gone according to plan doesn't mean the story's finished. During these challenging times, we have felt how strong our resolve is to continue, to adapt, to rise above. As we look forward, we see hope on the horizon. We've consulted with experts and outlined a path forward to a safe new normal for our athletes and community. And to achieve this, we need your help. Special Olympics Michigan has developed a multi-tier fund and need recovery plan to provide key resources to our athletes. Tier 1, general equipment for return to play. As our typical revenue streams have been interrupted, we recognize the need to provide program supplies and equipment for over the next 12 to 18 months. Tier 2, return to competition. For more regional and localized in-person competitions, support at this level will help get athletes back into action sooner while providing key safety measures. Tier 3, social distancing practicing space. Support at this level will provide ample practice space to allow proper social distancing for athletes when it's safe to return to play. Tier 4, PPE equipment needs for return to play. Funding at this level will provide our athletes with PPE including masks, sanitizers, and thermometers. Tier 5, Athlete Recovery Fund. If this time has taught us anything, it's to be flexible. In this tier, your generous donation towards the Athlete Recovery Fund will be used to fill in the gaps of any of the other previously mentioned needs. So, how will you be part of our story? Help ensure our athletes rise to the challenges of today while ensuring we're here for them tomorrow. Pledge a fund need level by donating at SOMI.org/ALA.
Before we go, we have one last message from our Athletes Like Audrey co-chairs, Scott Custer and Dave Cordy.
Thank you all so much for joining us for the virtual Athletes Like Audrey event. We're so excited to see the athletes compete again, and with your help, they will safely be able to do so.
Please share this link with your networks and help us reach our goal. There is power in community, and we know that with your help, our athletes will return to play. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and thank you for joining us.